We asked AI, what will happen if we have a large-scale nuclear conflict? The use of nuclear weapons would bring about a nightmarish scenario with far-reaching and long-lasting effects on humanity, the environment, and the global order. It is crucial to understand these consequences to emphasize the urgency of nuclear disarmament and conflict resolution. 1. Massive loss of life and immediate destruction. In the event of a nuclear war, the immediate consequences would be catastrophic. The detonation of nuclear weapons in densely populated areas would result in a staggering loss of life. The impact of the explosion itself, the intense heat, and immediate radiation exposure would cause unimaginable casualties within seconds. Entire cities could be wiped off the map. 2. Long-term health effects. Survivors near the blast zones would face a grim reality. They would suffer from acute radiation sickness, severe burns, and traumatic injuries. Over time, many would develop cancer and other radiation-related illnesses. Furthermore, genetic mutations caused by radiation exposure could impact the health of subsequent generations. 3. Environmental devastation and nuclear winter. Nuclear explosions would lead to widespread fires, releasing massive amounts of soot and debris into the atmosphere. This would block sunlight, causing a rapid drop in global temperatures, a phenomenon known as nuclear winter. The resulting environmental devastation could disrupt ecosystems, reduce agricultural productivity, and trigger widespread famine, affecting people far beyond the conflict zone. 4. Global economic collapse. The destruction wrought by a nuclear war would extend to the global economy. Key industries, transportation networks, and trade routes would be disrupted or obliterated. This would result in economic collapse for many countries, leading to immense suffering and instability. 5. Infrastructure damage. The vital infrastructure necessary for emergency response and recovery efforts would be severely damaged or destroyed. This would impede the ability to provide medical care, deliver humanitarian aid, and rebuild affected areas. It would also hinder communication and coordination among authorities and organizations. 6. Political and social chaos. In the aftermath of a large-scale nuclear conflict, societies would likely descend into chaos. Panic, mass migration, and social breakdown would be common. Governments could collapse, and the rule of law could disintegrate. The sudden influx of refugees into neighboring regions might exacerbate existing tensions and conflicts. 7. Radiation contamination. Nuclear fallout would render significant areas uninhabitable due to radioactive contamination. This radiation could persist for years, decades, or even centuries, posing a long-term threat to human health and the environment. 8. Global fallout. Even if the conflict were localized, the global repercussions would be profound. Radioactive particles and dust from the explosions would be carried by wind and weather patterns, affecting regions far from the conflict zone. This could contaminate food and water supplies and have far-reaching health implications. 9. Risk of escalation. Large-scale nuclear conflicts carry the risk of escalation. Once nuclear weapons are used, it becomes increasingly difficult to control the situation. Other countries may be drawn into the conflict, leading to the use of more nuclear weapons and even greater destruction. 10. Psychological and moral consequences. Beyond the immediate physical and environmental devastation, the psychological trauma of a nuclear war would scar survivors and future generations. The moral implications of causing such devastation, including the intentional killing of innocent civilians on a massive scale, would weigh heavily on the international community. In summary, a large-scale nuclear conflict is not a hypothetical scenario but a horrifying reality that must be prevented at all costs. The global community has recognized the existential threat posed by nuclear weapons and has undertaken efforts to prevent their use through arms control agreements, disarmament initiatives, and diplomatic negotiations. The consequences of nuclear war are so dire that the only rational course of action is to work tirelessly to prevent it and to promote peace, conflict resolution, and disarmament as the highest priorities for global security. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more.